What's your plan? And we've been saying ICEA Lion can help you think through your plan, work with you on your plan, and bring your plan to actualization and fruition. And that's the conversation we want to have this hour. David Muchiri is the General Manager, Retail Business Distribution for Life Business at ICEA Lion. He's our guest this morning. David, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Every time somebody comes here for the first time, it's Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year in March.
Yes, of course. Happy New Year.
Great
Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
No, we are very grateful to be here this morning. We are quite excited to have a conversation on planning. Yes.
We'll tell us about that plan story.
Yeah.
But first, City plans to give you the day's proverb.
Okay.
And this week's proverbs are from the kingdom of Swatini. And the king is called Swati.
I mean, come on, this is really interesting. And the people are called Swat. Believe it or not.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. A poor man is hungry after eating.
A poor man is hungry after eating. David, how do you interpret this one?
Now, I want to assume that we are always looking out, and until you are full, until your plans are fulfilled, you'll never stop searching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellently executed.
So do you think this is it a positive or a negative proverb?
No, I guess it's a positive proverb.
It's encouraging you to remain poor.
To remain searching, to continue looking out for the opportunities which are there.
Keep searching.
Yeah, keep searching, yes.
Keep looking out for stuff.
Yeah.
ICEA Lion. All right. So for many people who are of a certain age and above know those two as two different things until they merged.
Yeah.
There are people who only know them as one. So just give us an introduction to this.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone, once more. ICEA Lion is a business that has been built over a period of 60 years. We've been in existence. Actually, this year we're going to celebrate 60 years of our existence. We have built a solid business. So it's a license. We have 4 licenses under the group. So we have the general insurance license, we have the life insurance license, we have the asset management, and we have trust. So there are 4 businesses under one group. And you talked about people knowing it as one group. Yes, we didn't start as one group. We were 2 businesses, and we saw the need for us to get more traction in the industry and to get more lion's share of the business that the Lion suggests. And so we looked for the right partner, and we found ourselves merging businesses with the Lion of Kenya then. So ICEA and Lion of Kenya came together to form one business, ICEA Lion. And that's what we are.
60 years.
60 years, yes.
Which is the oldest of these 4 streams of business? General, life, trust, or asset management?
So I would say that we started life and general almost started at the same time. So general was the first one to be licensed, and then the year later we started the life business. So basically both of them are almost the same time, but the other the asset management and the trust business came thereafter.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is trust?
Oh, trust is I'll be speaking about it much later. Is so when people are consolidating their wealth and their assets that they have built over a long period of time, you might want to actually get somebody else to structure your assets and take care of them even long after you have gone. So we have estate planning, we have administration of assets. So that's what we built around trust, will, and helping people to plan for their retirement. So all these are things that we look at after in trust. Yeah.
Who's the target, or who has, let's look historically, who the target was for, these plans, as it were, and what was the point of coming to the market and asking people to put away a little bit of something for the future?
So, and I think traditionally the insurance industry has been targeting the people who have the ability to pay premiums and people who have assets. But again, the conversation that we're going to have today is on how now we want to demystify that conversation about that it's only those people who have assets that can be insured. We want to believe and we want to trust that everybody has a risk that they carry every day with themselves. And so we would say that everybody is insurable. And that's the conversation that we're bringing with this campaign that we are doing on what's your trust. So Predominantly, initially, we were looking at a niche market. We were looking at those people who have the ability to pay, those people who have disposable incomes, those people who have assets. But that we are now throwing out of the box, and we're now encouraging a conversation of what do you want to plan for your future? Can we come in early enough into the conversation, and how can we plan together to ensure that we fit in your plans? And that's what is exciting about this new campaign that we are running. Yeah.
It's disruptive, isn't it?
It is.
Even for your own business. As a business, you're used to dealing with people who have, let's say, a regular income. And therefore, they also are able to make regular payments for whatever plans that you have. And now you're saying, all right, so no matter what kind of situation you're in, let's come and let's talk. That means that you also have to think about the people that you're talking to and whether they actually have an income to start with, whether that income, they have sufficient disposable income, and how you can work together with them over the long term, over the various, phases of their life.
Yeah, and I'll tell you,
that is disruptive.
Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you for sure, disruption in the insurance industry is ripe. And I guess, and I think this is the right time, and this is a conversation that we're having right now, that we have been very, very selective in terms of how we do and carry out our business. But we have come to realize that there's a big opportunity for us to actually disrupt ourselves from within. So the disruption that we're talking about is actually from within. We are looking at our processes, we are looking at the people, we are looking at the products, we are looking at solutions that we're offering, and we have brought out all these ones and said, it's about time that then we look at all these things all together and create a platform that allows us to interact with everyone. And that's why this plan is about bringing on board inclusivity, bringing on board everyone. We are trying to demystify insurance, and we are bringing diversity in it. And that's why we have all these form of colors, exciting colors that you can see in the campaign, so that then we can accommodate everyone. If CT likes pink, for that reason,
he does.
And so
he really does. Yeah.
So why not? And if that's what is going to attract him to insurance, so why not? If you are a green person, so to speak.
Actually,
how did you know?
How do you know
I know these things. And so we want to incorporate everyone by showing them that we have the right solutions, and that's why we are no longer now calling them products. We are calling them plans. Yeah.
What precipitated this thinking? Because your industry, and the banking industry, are not known to be disruptive. They are known to be staid. They are known to be traditional. They are known to be safe. They are known to be risk averse.
Insurance, for your information, I think is, if disruption doesn't happen, will be a dying business. I can tell you the growth, and you can look at the data. Look at insurance penetration in this market, for example. It's been stagnant. In fact, when you debase the economy, and I remember we did this several years ago, the insurance penetration moved away from 3.4 to 2.3. So as the economy continues to grow, the insurance business continues to shrink, because it's a factor of the premium that you collect as opposed to GDP of the country. Yes. So the GDP of the country continues to grow. Yeah. The insurance doesn't grow in that perspective. So the thinking around this is...
And why was this the case? Why was it not growing? Because it ought to have grown. What were you not doing right as an industry? Or were you just comfortable with what you had?
I think one of the things that, and you've mentioned it right, is that we have been very comfortable with what we get. An insurance premium of, if an insurance company does $1 billion shillings, that's huge, so huge. A bank that does that is actually, I wouldn't even classify them as tier 4 or 5, so to speak. But that's, you start getting an insurance company doing such premiums, they are classified as tier 1 insurance company. But we've realized that the demographics are changing. We have a now youthful population. This youthful population are looking at ways of planning their life, and they're starting early enough. And the conversation right now is easier than the days that we were in before, when our parents didn't know what is insurance. I know I work with an insurance company, and I keep on telling my mom I work with an insurance company. She does not understand what I do. I used to work in a bank, and she understands what banking was all about. But it's a very difficult conversation for me and her when I tell her I do insurance. But now we have a youthful population, and the subject of insurance is becoming known. And I guess then the risks are also emerging, and the risks are also, we're getting new risks that are coming, and especially because of the adaptation of technology. We never used to have a cyber risk. And now cyber risk is a very big component of risk. So all these are things that are actually aggravating to the growth of insurance. But I guess the difficult conversation that is in the room right now is then how do we exponentially grow this business? And that's what we aim to do with this campaign.
When you think of... No, please. Go ahead.
So then to get there, I think then maybe some of the fundamentals is getting first. I mean, I think you've given a good example here of the likelihood of someone to touch something when they don't understand it, then is lower, you know. So then to understand the concept of insurance then seems to me 50% of the work done. Because if you're saying in 2024, as a group, trying to then say, can we get more people onto this platform? Yeah. Then perhaps half the work is getting folks to understand the concept and what it means. So could you do some breakdowns then? Okay. In terms of, all right, so this is what insurance means, this is what it does. When I have a shilling, this is what I can do for you with it.
You mentioned that we have done 50% of the work, and allow me to just give in a nutshell what we have been able to do. Because that's the elephant in the room, and that's why this campaign we are doing it right now. We didn't do it yesterday because we had to look at our back end. Can the back end support the transformation that we want to do? So the insurance systems have been very archaic in terms of technology, but I can tell you right now we have invested heavily in terms of technology. And that's one of the things that we have done and we've been doing over the years to develop as a technology that will be able to carry this business to prosperity. That is one. The second thing that we have done is to look at the people. And the people we recognize are the biggest assets. The insurance business is a conversation that you want to have with an individual. It's unlike banking where it's about daily relevance. Insurance, you have actually to sit down with somebody and carry the person along. So we've done a lot of investing in people. So that then these people we can use them to disseminate the information that we are talking about. I'll tell you, we have invested in a modern academy. We call it now the School of Reengineering, because we believe we need to re-engineer our people to the new thinking about the future of insurance. So that's the other thing that we have been able to do.
School of Reengineering.
School of Reengineering. It's based in Karen. It's a 100-seater training center, academy, which just deals with people and look at the ability to transform these people from the traditional thinking to the new modern thinking. What we've done, and we started with last year, is to do the culture conversation and align our culture to the new way of doing things. And so the School of Engineering is helping us to build that. Then outside of that then is now, how do we simplify the products? And that speaks to your question. How do you then have a conversation with somebody if the products are still as traditional as they are, and as the products are as they are complex as they are, with a lot of exclusions, with a lot of jargons that are put in between.
Too much.
And now the thinking, and I want this to be your takeaway from this. We have moved away from fixing our customers within our plans to us fixing our plans to the customers. I want to repeat that again because it's very important. That we have moved away from boxing the customers to the plans that we have. To us now fixing ourselves to the plans that the customers have. I'll give you an example. Citi wants to travel to Maldives in the next 5 years.
Where?
Maldives. I know that.
Okay.
So he has a plan that he wants to execute in the next 5 years. How do we get into his plans? How do we come in as a business to understand that Citi has this kind of an income, he has this vision, he has these plans that he wants to execute in the next 5 years, and Citi has one, he can put in a lump sum with us, and that lump sum then we allow it to grow to achieve the vision that he has. Or number two, he has small monthly premiums or incomes that he can deposit in that account that he has opened, so that then the dream is realized. So all these things is now trying to make the insurance relevant to people's
To the
lives
customer.
and to the customer.
Previously, how would you have handled CT?
Would have actually come and tell CT, we have this scheme, you take it or you leave it.
Start paying to get it.
Start paying to get it.
Hii unalipa X
But-
amount.
Yes, but now we want to work with him, and he says, "This is my dream destination. This is the amount of money that I have. I'm earning this amount of money. I'm farming in Kitale.
Yeah.
I have a maize plantation.
Yeah.
I'm going to harvest 14 gunias,
Yes.
and this is the income that I expect from that. Out of that, can I get half of it? Can you guys put it in my account to ensure that then that income is growing and I'm able to achieve the dreams that I have for the next 5 years."
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that we're looking at a reverse today, just as obviously from what you've said,
Yeah.
and that you will then take what a customer says. Look, I have this, and I know that I want to either put something away for the future. I know that I have this project that I want to be able to complete or fulfill in the next 10 years, but this is what I have. So you then are tailor making plans according to what the customer has.
Precisely, you've gotten it.
Okay.
So we are doing the reverse conversation, and if you look at what we have actually invested, we have invested in people who are listening more than hearing. In fact, my wife keeps on saying there's a difference between hearing and listening,
Indeed.
And she's
She's
absolutely
right.
and she keeps on telling my daughters, "You better listen, not hear."
Yes.
And this is what we are actually doing with our people. But we want people who can actually listen to the customers and prescribe a solution together, build the plan together with the customer that will fit to what they're looking for, not boxing them into what we already have. So we are doing away with the products that we have. We're giving now plans that fits into what people are looking for. You might want to buy a car in the next 3 years. How do we help you to do that? Then once you do it, how do we also protect that asset? So holistically, we look at you in terms of your requirement, your financial projections, and fit into it. Yeah.
You know, what you're saying is not just revolutionary, it's very heartwarming. I am glad I'm alive to actually hear it being actioned.
Maldives, here you come.
Well, what makes you think I haven't been there already?
No, you want to go again. It's not on one entry.
Unaweza kurudi.
Already.
You know, there is always a story of a certain untapped market when you're talking of businesses. And we have an informal sector economy in this country. Do I hear you to be saying that the plans that we keep speaking of and we've been speaking of in this studio include this group of people who are in what we call the informal sector, and that given the size and the numbers that they have, it's huge, that this also represents a new frontier that clearly hasn't been tapped in the past. And these are some of the areas that you are now seeking to venture in.
You've gotten it right. I think we are now within what I look at in my area is how do we get these affinity groups? How do we get this business, emerging business that are coming? So we have invested a lot in consumer education, so to speak. And I'll tell you, those are the people who actually need insurance more than Eric here. Eric might be able to replace his income if in a very short period of time. But take the case of informal settlement of informal businesses where traders are faced with this risk on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And they're looking at how can I build my income sustainably? How do I restock in the case then an issue was to come? So we have created a platform for them now. As low as, as minimum as 500 shillings, you can actually be able to do on DigiTrust, which is one of the products that we have within the group. That you can actually put in a savings of 500 shillings on a daily basis. And that can help you as the income is growing. It can help you in case of need for you to educate your children, in case you need hospitalization, in case you need food to put food on the table. And all these things will come when we now start onboarding customers now digitally, which we have started already doing the same. So all these things are there, and we are
It's the new way of thinking.
It's a new way of thinking.
With this example that you've just given us,
Yeah.
Somebody running an informal, but let's say they're hawking, they run all those risks that you've said, and you're encouraging them, please put aside 500 bob every day into this particular plan. What's the difference? Sell that against the SACCO person who's telling them you can also invest the same 500 bob. Why buy the plan and not put this money in a SACCO?
Number one, we are not coming to say that we are going to replace what financial sector is doing, the banks and the SACCOs. We are offering a different mode of savings.
Yeah.
And you know that as a country, we don't have a very good culture in terms of saving.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at and what we are saying here is that we are coupling and wrapping up that saving with an insurance offering. So that then in the case then, which the SACCOs will actually not do, you just get your savings plus the interest. So we're saying this 500 shillings, we can actually take it and wrap it with an insurance offering. Such that then in the case you had a dream and you had an inspiration and you had a vision to build a home, for example. I'm inspired by a story of border riders who in Anyuki went and bought a piece of land out of their saving. And every day they will save 100 shillings. And that 100 shillings will accumulate to huge funds. And those few funds then they went and bought a piece of land and now they constructed homes. We are now getting into the same conversation and saying, we can actually give you a platform where you put in as little as 500 shillings to start with for now.
Right.
And I know with technology we are going to go lower than that. You can put in 100 shillings. And these 100 shillings you want to replace your motorcycle.
Yeah.
But in the case, then an occurrence was to happen, either death, disability, or anything else, and you don't have, you will still help the family to realize the dream that you had. If your dream was to build a home, for example, and that is curtailed by death or disability, we'll still come and fulfill that dream. So we are wrapping all this with a protection.
Insurance.
With a protection. In fact, we are now moving away from calling it insurance to protection, because that's what it is. And it's easier for people to understand that. So wrapping it up with a protection that will allow people now to realize their dream of what they envisaged in the past.
Brilliant. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
It's 7:30. David Muchiri is the General Manager, Retail Business Distribution for Life Business at ICEA Lion. He's here. We've been talking about the plan. What's your plan? And asking what's your plan and saying ICEA Lion can help you walk through that plan. We brought him here now so that he can explain how they can help us walk through the plan. We'll be back shortly. Good morning. Our conversation continues with David Muchiri, Retail Business Distribution at ICEA Lion. We're talking about the plan. What's the plan? David, you talked about your own experience talking to the older people, your own mom, and saying, I work for an insurance company. And she can see, but she doesn't really connect with what exactly you do on a daily basis, right? So how would you sell insurance to the older people? And how would you sell insurance to the new people who have never even taken up any kind of product?
Yeah, that's a very important question, Eric. And for information, insurance is not new. Even long time ago, people used to practice insurance. It's only that it wasn't formalized. The day that in some cultural practices, somebody would say that, can we get a child from somebody else? That was a way of diversifying the risk. and even today, what we call the inbreeding, if you have a heifer and you don't want it to do crossbreeding, you actually transfer that to your neighbor who has something else different. So that's a form of insurance, so to speak. My mom, when they come together with the other women in a social forum, and they contribute 100 shillings every Sunday, what are they doing? They're doing a form of insurance.
Or when they support someone who is unwell, somebody who needs to go to school, somebody who has a medical problem, and they come together. That's exactly what
that's insurance, yeah.
Yes.
In fact, and this is what we are trying to debunk, the conversation around different forms of insurance that people are taking. Because the day that my mom meets with the other groups and they contribute money just in case one of them gets an incident, and that money goes to help the family. That's a funeral expense, or what we call last expense. So this conversation now, we actually bring it home. So we still want the groups to meet socially, because that's what they like most. I've tried to tell my mom there's no value when she contributes 100 shillings every week, every Sunday. But she tells me there's something else that I get from that group that will not be...
It's not the 100 bob.
It's not 100 shillings. It's not. So we still want people to meet. But can they meet? And when they meet...
It's the social capital.
It's a social capital, yes, as you're saying. Can they, as they meet, have a conversation around, can we take this money from the treasurer who keeps this money at home? Can we give this money to an insurance company where they will give us a plan that will help any one of our members in case anything was to happen? So that's a conversation that we are now eliciting, where somebody says, City invests in her daughter and says, this is my retirement package. How can City now start having that conversation and move away from thinking that the daughter is an investment plan? How can he start putting savings towards his retirement? And retirement is not a conversation for people who are 60. Retirement is a conversation that people should start even immediately when you get a job. So immediately
you actually even start college. No, not even get a job. As you start college,
precisely,
you should start thinking about your retirement.
Precisely. In fact, that's what we are doing. We are even giving platforms to students who have a way of, if you're given 1,000 shillings by your parents, can you save 100 shillings towards your plan? Which will be that maybe you want to buy a laptop. You mentioned about your daughter. At the age of 25, maybe she wants to own her own laptop. Can she start saving a small amount of money on a daily basis, on a weekly basis? And now we moved away from regular premiums, where we used to tell people premiums has to be paid annually. We've broken down now further, and now we can even say even as many times in a day as possible.
Okay. So talk to that 20-year-old girl called Latifa who... so she's getting pocket money from her father. She's getting support maybe from an uncle and auntie somewhere. She's getting some, and she may get to work a small job and earn some money. To start thinking about saving and insurance. How would you sell it? How would you tell Latifa to come and have a conversation about her plan?
And the first thing that we'll actually do is to listen to, and that's what I said. It starts with a conversation. What are the ambition that Latifa has for the next 5 years, 10 years? It starts there. Then if she says, for example, she wants to, in the next 5 years, to have moved out of your home, we start planning and saying, what do you need to start with when you move, if you are to move out from your father? And the person says, I need a laptop, I need a TV, I need a sofa, I need this and this, I need rent. So then we walk back and say, this is what you're looking for at the end of course, you subject that to inflation, and say that in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll be moving away from your parents. Can we start? This is how we break down. If you put this amount of money, either on a daily basis, if it's possible, or on a weekly basis, or even on a monthly basis, this will allow you to fulfill your plan. That's a conversation that we're having.
What guarantees or sureties then do folks have for their money, whether it's the 500 shillings or the 10, or the 10,000 that they're putting away? The guarantee that your money is safe. And then, of course, the big question always comes in: what do you do with this money that we give?
That forms you.
Let me start from
what do you do with our money?
Let me start with the last one. What do you normally do with your money? We put that money in a pool. Your 100 shillings, he's 100 shillings, your 50 shillings altogether. We put them in a pool. Then we look at opportunities to do investments that will guarantee the highest return. So your 100 shillings, you might actually take it to the bank and they don't give you any interest. But your 100 plus his 100 and his 50 put together forms a large pool, which we now can say, can we invest this, whether offshore or within the country? Whether we do public sector lending, or we give it to the banks, or we look at all the one that will guarantee the highest return is where we're going to put the money with. That's where we're going to put the money. Now, to the question about how safe is your money, we are a AAA rated insurance business. I'm sure you haven't heard that in insurance.
What does
East and Central Africa. We are AAA rated. I saw that, and I had listened to you yesterday in the morning when you're talking about the credit rating for financial institutions.
Yeah.
That tells you that our business is solid.
Okay.
The business is solid. We have very strong governance. We have very strong financial assets, underlying financial assets, to make sure that when that need arises and when we have to pay you the money is available.
Okay.
So that is something that we have actually done and invested. We are the insurance regulator requires that capital adequacy of 100%. We have actually gone 3 times, multiples of 3 of that requirement. So for every shillings of liability that we might incur, we are putting aside 3 shillings to take care of that.
Yeah.
So we are not only covering you 100%, we have gone ahead and ensured that we have overprotected in case the liabilities were to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, usually, of course, with a plan, then you're saying that for a duration of time, then the individual is going to service this plan, meaning that you give the I'm going to use a fancy word, which I hear means how much you put in. So long as you continue paying your premiums, Abi, you service this. The expectation is that you keep doing this. But what if something happens along the line whereby maybe you need to change a little bit? There could be a reduction in how much you give. There could be an increment in how much you give. What happens to your plan?
So we have 2 types of investment within the group. We have investments that allow you to put a lump sum. That lump sum, then there's no, of course, doesn't in that case lapse. You can actually come and withdraw that money wherever you need it. That's available within our investment division. But then there's this plan that you have and you've set aside and say that I want to educate my child when the child gets to grade 9, for example. So for the next 9 years, I'm going to put in this amount of money on a regular basis. We are constant as a business that anything can happen in midterm.
Yes.
So what we've done is that we give an opportunity for people to come and later in life to reinstate, to come and say, this is where I had reached. Can I pick from where I stopped? Can I continue with the plan that I had? That's one of the things that we do. The other thing that we do also allow is to say, let's sit together with you and work on a plan that will make sure that you're sustainable in terms of meeting your obligations. Yes, you are paying 50,000, but this has happened to you. Can you reduce that to 10,000 shillings? That's something that we are actually able to accommodate. And that's what I said. We are no longer selling insurance products. We are selling, or rather we are incorporating, or we are doing plans together with you. Yeah.
I did mention that I was going to ask you about, now, individuals like myself who are a little long in the tooth. Someone who has reached the age of 60 and above, what sort of plans would you have for such a person? Somebody who has insurance policies in the past with you or with other insurance companies and they've lapsed. No, forget the other companies. They're not here. It's you. And they've lapsed. What does one then do in such a case? Is planning only for people who are young, or are there plans for people who are getting along with the years like myself?
That's why we say this plan is inclusive, because we want to bring on board everybody. Our bread and butter has been on the corporate business, where we have people in terms of retirement schemes. But we decided to ride on that capability, the same capability, the strength that we have to get into the retail space and the younger generation and people across the different age set. So to answer your question, we have plans that allow you to get regular income on a monthly basis. So you can invest in a pension. You can invest in something called annuity, where you buy an annuity, which allows you to, on a monthly basis, to have a pay, the normal pay that you are getting. Let's say that you are getting a salary of 100,000 shillings. We can build something that will allow you, even after retirement, to get 100,000 on a monthly basis. That's the same conversation for if you want to withdraw a lump sum. You have a project, so there's something called income drawdown. You can come and say that I want to pull out let's say, instead of 100,000, this time I want to have a million shillings. So we allow for all this flexibility to happen. And that's why I said this conversation about planning is not age-based, because now you can start building your retirement today. Yeah.
Who regulates you?
We are regulated by Insurance Regulatory Authority. We also, because of the pensions, we are also regulated by RBA. And to a very great extent, because we also have businesses that are also touching on within the group and the larger group. There's a linkage with other regulators and other players within the market. Yeah,
like a Capital Markets Authority.
Capital Markets Authority, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier about the investment that you've made in preparation for this new campaign. You made a heavy investment on staff, on making sure that people understand the new thinking of the company, of the group, the new thinking of what you talk about plan. I'm sure, having worked in the insurance industry for many years, you've heard many people complaining to you like, but insurance guys, sometimes you people just send off people who don't really understand the products that they're selling. And they've come to us and they're saying, this is the thing that we are selling. It will benefit you A, B, C, D. And if you have any other questions, you don't fit in. So how have you explained it now to the staff such that if they're talking to me, to anybody, they will listen, they'll understand exactly what I'm saying, and they'll be able to tailor a product that matches me without now going back to the office. Wacha tuende kwa ofisi. GM amesema hiyo hatuwezi hii mwaka.
So for the last 1 year, the biggest conversations that we had internally was aligning our new thinking to our new culture. So we sat down to redefine our new culture, our new way of doing things, our beliefs, our traditions, our ethos, our practices. And we said, these are some of the things that we will not do, and these are some of the things that we will do. And we've created it within the organization and said, if you do this, this is a red warning. It's a sign that you are not aligned with the new culture. And then we encourage people by giving them green cards. Just like in a football match, you get a yellow card and you get a red card. So we say, if you get a green, this is something we are happy about. This one we should proceed with it. If you get a red, this is something that calls for you to rethink, calls for you to reflect. And so that preparation has come with a lot of aligning to the new ways of doing things. And one of the things that we have invested a lot, as I mentioned earlier, is training. The School of Engineering is equipping our staff to reflect on a new thinking and new ways of doing things. And so everybody has actually is that are taking a course in the school of engineering, to ensure that then we are able to prepare our people for the next phase that we are getting ourselves into.
What kind of training do they actually go through? Like, take us through a module of the School of Engineering.
There are different types of training. The very first one, and a very big component, is building trust. How do we build trust with our customers? And that has been one of the biggest challenges within the insurance industry.
Yep.
Trust. And that's why, to your question in terms of penetration, trust has really contributed a lot. So how do we... Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to ask, how are you suggesting that there has been mistrust?
Within, and this has been the biggest disconnect because of us not creating solutions that speaks to the customers. We create solutions for ourselves.
You've been elitist.
So it makes it very complex at the point of a claim to pay.
Yeah.
Because did you fit within our plan? That's a conversation. Did you play by our rules? That's a conversation. If you go outside of the rules, then we say this is not payable.
Yeah.
But now we are calling you to the table and saying, come, let's break the rules together.
This school that you speak of, I'm interested in your curriculum and what you teach. And I'm also interested in how it is you teach people to disseminate what it is that they learn. And if indeed in planning all this, you have had some sort of research processes to give you an idea of what input will be required to get the desired result that you want?
R&D is one of the biggest investments that we have made within the group. And I can tell you, majority of these decisions that we are making are informed by research. And it tells us these are some of the things that we should do, and these are some of the things that we should not do. So in the school that I was talking about, and I didn't mention that, other than trust, we have a curriculum that talks about customer. And customer is a wide topic. From products, solutions, plans, to how do you service the customer, and how do you make sure that you do not only retain that customer for today, but you use that customer as your referral, a model. And our business has actually used referral as one of the biggest marketing tool that we can do. So these are some of the things that we are actually building within the academy. Yeah.
So Peter is in Embu and is asking, are you available across the counties, or must I come to Nairobi? Now speak about that, and speak to the young people who, even if you're in Nairobi, in Westlands, and they're in Westlands, they do not want to come to your office.
So they wouldn't come, yes, as you mentioned. So we have a microsite that allows us to interact on the web. You can get there, plan.icealion.co.ke. You can interact with that microsite and
say that again. Plan.icealion.co.ke.
That will allow you to actually get to interact with the various plans that we have in place. That is one. We have also onboarding capabilities that now we are rolling out on digital through USSD. That's something that is actually almost been finalized. We are part of the conversations that we are also having is partnerships. And I didn't mention that partnership is also something that we are really, really working hard to bring on board. Today we are working with a lot of independent insurance agents. We are working with a lot of banks. We are working with telcos. We are working with SACCOs. And then we have our agents. So we have about 2,000 financial advisors. So the reason why we call them financial advisors is because we have trained them to start thinking of people's finances. And so they can be able to give you a plan based on your finances. So we have about 2,000 of them. We have about 19 branches. We have 19 branches cut across the country. So from Meru to Nyeri to Nairobi, we have about 7. We have in Nanyuki, we have branches in Kisumu, Kisii, Kakamega, Kericho, Nakuru. And we are rolling out additional branches. We have branches in Mombasa also. And one of the biggest thing and a clarion call from this is these plans that we are doing, the biggest, this execution of this strategy will require more foot soldiers on the ground. So we're opening up to about also another 2,000 agents, financial advisors. So we have opportunities to train and put them in class, about 2,000 of them, so that then we can, this information needs to reach out to as many people as possible. So I've only managed to get to about 200,000 people. So we want to get to 50 million people.
You can.
And through the digital, but of course, we'll also have to use the traditional distribution models.
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting because, of course, looking at earlier this morning, and I think we tie the two, that we know that a good percentage of Kenya's population is in the informal sector. And that means that very many things are as a result of that. So folks are undocumented, folks are unbanked, and then there's little awareness when it comes to some of the financial moves that you can make. However, from what you've said, it doesn't preclude folks from having a plan. It doesn't matter that you don't have, your 2.5, this, that, the other thing. You can actually get onto a plan. So how would you then bring in and create a situation where people who are not in the formal sector can have a nest egg for the future for something that they want to do if they understood the building blocks to this thing? How can they also be brought in whereby insurance becomes a norm going into the future?
So what we're doing in this we've implemented in the last couple of days is we are working with affinity groups. So we realize that these people are in a organized setup already. So because we can't reach and scale, we might not be able to actually get to every other person. So we bring them together through their association. And through that, then we sit down and have a conversation with them. And out of that, then we are able to come up with solutions that will, or plans that we will actually be able to speak to their businesses. So for example, if we go to Kamukunji, the people who do the sufurias and mabati boxes in Kamukunji, and I go and talk to the chairman, and I say, I want you to bring on board your members for what we call consumer education. And we disseminate information that is relevant to that group. We wouldn't start talking about very high premium conversations. We discuss about their daily requirement. What is their plans? What are they looking at? It's part of the risk that I've seen within that group is that they are so concerned about one of them when one of them passes on. How do we transport the body? How do we cater for the funeral? So instead of the treasurer going around with a book and a piece of paper collecting 50 shillings from everyone, we are telling them, because you have a capability to collect these things, why don't we have a regular conversation where you can put in these 50 shillings with us?
Imagine, for instance, these associations that go beyond the workplace. As you're speaking, I apologize for interrupting, but I'm looking at these associations that exist in tertiary educational setups, whether it's university colleges. Many of them tend to be regional. Kano, Students Association. Sagana, Students Association. Okay? Marakwet. Now, it's an association. The aspirations aren't any different. But they already have the groups for you. So it makes it easy to work with.
Precisely. And that's what we're trying to do. Actually, if you look at the future of insurance, is these affinity groups. How do we get all these groups on board? So we are doing a lot of work to actually get those affinity groups, bring them together, and then see whether they can also be a distribution touch point for us.
Oh, yes. And because there's also trust already built within the groups.
Precisely.
It's a big thing. David, thank you very much for joining us today. Yes, we've now understood what it means when you talk about the plan and thinking about your plan and talking to ICEA Lion about the plan. It's important. Remember, plan.icealion.co.ke. Visit that microsite. You'll get a lot more information. David Muchiri, GM Retail Business Distribution, ICEA Lion.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.